Mixed voice is one of the most elusive freaking concepts in singing. So today I'm hopefully going to help you understand it a little bit better. Welcome back to Singing Tips with LJDstudios, the space where we take difficult singing concepts and break them down so you can actually understand and implement them for better singing. I'm Laura, and today we're talking about mixed voice because it's super complicated, but hopefully not that complicated after this video. As always, you guys make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you haven't already, download my free guide, The 3-Tiered Approach to Becoming a Better Singer, linked in the description. Additionally, if you would like some feedback on your singing from yours truly, but you're not quite ready to take the plunge into private lessons, check out my membership option. It's a low-cost, low-time commitment way to study singing without ever having to ask the question, am I doing it right? Also linked in the description. All right, let's get into it. What the heck is mixed voice? Mixed voice is exactly what it sounds like. It's sort of a mix of chest and head. Cool, I wish it were that easy. The thing is, you're pretty much always singing in a mix of some kind, except for maybe like falsetto or whistle voice or something like that. But when we talk about mixed voice, we are talking primarily about the relationship between your cricothyroid muscle and your thyroarytenoid muscle. One is responsible for thicker, shorter vocal folds. One is responsible for longer, thinner vocal folds. The one that makes your chords short and thick gives you heavier sounds, more chest voice sounds, if you will. The one that is longer and thinner gives you head voice sounds or lighter sounds, right? But the thing is, like when you're in head voice, it's not like your chest voice muscle's not participating. It is. And when you are in chest voice, it's not like the head voice muscle's not participating. It is. So you're always kind of in a mix, but it's a question of what the ratio is. Okay, cool. I've done another video on that, so I'm going to leave that at that. But what I want to get into today is the difference between a classical mix and a contemporary mix, because that's the big thing. So to simplify, a classical mix is what I would call a head voice dominant style of mix, right? So if we're in what we perceive to be like a full chest voice, let's say the ratio of your head voice muscle and your chest voice muscle, your CT and your TA muscle, let's say that relationship is 90% chest and 10% head. Totally making that number up, but let's say that's what it is, right? When you are in what feels like your true head voice, let's say you're in 90% head voice muscle, 10% chest voice muscle. When we move toward a mix, right, that ratio gets closer together. So when you're in a more classical style of mix, let's pretend that it's a more 60% head voice muscle, 40% chest voice, right? When you are in a contemporary style of mix, that gets flipped, okay? So the way I think of it, and this is just me, so you might have a different way, and comment if you do have a different way of thinking about it, but I like to think about mixed voice in terms of, I'm not really truly 50-50. Maybe it's 51-49, but which one am I in? Am I in that classical mix, which is more head voice dominant, or am I in that contemporary mix, which is more chest voice dominant? So you want to differentiate between those two and get really clear on which one you're trying to do first. Not to say that it can't be done, but here's what's challenging about going back and forth between those styles. A classical mix uses classical vowels, pure vowels. A, E, I, O, U. Ooh, that one's the big one. It uses classical vowels, pure vowels, I should say, Italianate vowels. That doesn't mean that you can't sing in English and have some diphthongs and other vowels that differentiate from that, but you're always going to be tilting toward these pure vowels. These pure vowels, here's what they all have in common in comparison to the contemporary vowels. They have a slightly lower position of the tongue. Not flat, but lower. They also have a slightly lower position of the larynx. That's not to say that you won't sometimes have a lower position of the tongue in contemporary or a lower position of the larynx, but when you put them side by side, your larynx is usually a little bit lower in classical than in contemporary, and your tongue position similarly a little bit lower. The vowels are also more narrow, right? A, E, I, O, U. You know what shape you didn't see in my mouth was this, right? Not to say there's not going to be times that you won't use that shape in a classical singing. When you're up like bonkers high, you will. But the vowels are those pure vowels, those darker vowels that are lower in position, okay? When you go for a contemporary style of mix, you're going to have a wider, higher tongue. That's why the advice when you're learning to belt is to sing on an A or an A. Because watch my tongue. When I go from which is the more classical version, to watch my tongue. You see it come up and forward. Also my larynx. I can feel it lifting when I do that. Or if I go from to right? They're just two totally different positions. So if you've been training in one lane for a long time, it's not to say that you can't move, but it's like, man, like I came from a classical background. That position is like pretty hardwired in my body. So I'm working really hard to try to make this other position feel more natural. But depending on which direction you're gonna go, you really wanna think, what vowel am I gonna choose? And the vowel you choose is going to affect the position of your larynx and the position of your tongue, which is going to set you up for more success depending on what type of mixed voice you're shooting for. So if we come back to this original explanation of mixed voice being this balance between the cricothyroid muscle and the thyroarytenoid muscle, you may have noticed when I'm talking about vowels, I'm not talking about those muscles. Because why, right? I mean, I think it's nice to know, that's my shtick here. I like you to know what's going on, but good luck engaging your cricothyroid muscle more, right? But what you can do is you can change the vowel, right? Which is or change the shape of your tongue. And that's ultimately going to affect the way these muscles fire, okay? So know that when you change the position of your tongue, you change the position of your larynx, you are affecting the way these muscles are working as well, which is going to help you change that balance between them for your mixed voice. All right, that's a super simplistic rundown, but again, that's my goal. I want you to understand what's going on in a way that's not overly complicated. But as always, let me know if you have questions. This is a complicated subject. Good luck, you guys. Happy singing.